Well, hello, beautiful people. 'Tis I. I'm here to share with you 5 of the last 5 thrillers I gave 5 stars. There's a lot of 5s in there, it truly is. Very excited to share those books with you. But I will say that a book I haven't even read yet is what inspired all of this, and it is a thriller book that I believe is going to be a 5-star read for me. I could be wrong, but I just have a feeling. And it is a Book of the Month book for March. Very excited to be working with them again. And one of the reasons I love working with them is because their picks are so good. So they sent me a list of 8 books that I could choose from. I was to choose 2 to talk to you about today. And of the 8, I genuinely had a hard time because 4 of them were like really calling to me, truly calling to me. I did dwindle it down to 2, but it was a hard thing to do. So one of the books that I chose, I will say, I think is going to be a 5-star read for me, and it is a thriller. So let me tell you about that book straight away. It is called Kill for Me, Kill for You by Steve Kavanagh. Now, I have never even read Steve Kavanagh before. This is a shot in the dark, but I've heard really good things about his writing on the whole. And then this book in particular, I went on Goodreads and I was checking it out, and they were like 4 and 5-star reviews. Like the arcs that people are reading of this book, everyone seems to love this book. So this could be like a Booktube 5-star. Who knows what's going to happen? So this book follows 2 women in New York City. They meet randomly while they're having drinks together. We're following Amanda and Wendy, and they find out that they've got a lot in common, particularly a loneliness that has set into their lives. And that loneliness is due to particular men who have destroyed their families. And they've come up by the end of the night with a pact that they will kill for one another. A kind of revenge story. Then we move across the city to the other side of the city, where we find Ruth in her brownstone that she lives in with her husband invaded. There is a man there who has piercing eyes. She doesn't know if she's going to survive the night. And somehow these 2 storylines are linked and they collide together through the book. I just think it sounds incredible. I cannot wait to read it. I really think it's going to be a 5-star read. The other book that I chose for Book of the Month is not a thriller. It's got more sci-fi elements. So this is called Annie-Bot. It's actually a tiny little thing by Sierra Greer. And this follows a bot named Annie. She has been created for a man named Doug, and she has been created to be perfect for him. She creates drinks for him. She learns more about his libido and what he wants in the bedroom. She has been designed for him, but he's constantly tweaking her and trying to make her more and more real and woman-like. And as he does that, she becomes less and less perfect. And she starts to question Doug, and she starts to question herself and what she actually wants. Those were the 2 books that I chose for March, but I swear there was another thriller that I was really looking at, and there was also a kind of paranormal one on there. It was hard to choose, okay? But if you are interested in Book of the Month, firstly, you can get a hardback like I did, or you can do audio. It's totally up to you. And if you sign up in March using the code CHIRP, you get your first book for $9.99. Well, now, shall we get into my 5-star reads? These are the last thrillers that I gave 5 stars. I will say I read a ton of thrillers. I really do, and I love thrillers, but they're rarely 5-star reads for me. I don't know why. Maybe I'm a bit harder on thrillers, but these books I really adored. And I discovered an auto-buy author based on them because 2 of the books in this pile are the same author, and that is Peter Swanson. This is the last book that I read while I'm filming this. This is The Kind Worth Killing. And I read this kind of in a hurry because he has a new book coming out, I want to say in May or something like that. And it's the 3rd in the series. I didn't even know this was a series. So this is the first. And I loved it so much. It actually sounds in some ways quite a lot like Kill for Me, Kill for You, because we meet 2 people who meet at a bar at an airport, though, not in New York City. And it is Ted and Lily. And Ted starts opening up. He's had a few too many drinks. He starts opening up to Lily about his life and how he just found out that his wife is cheating on him. And she's listening to him, and they get on the plane, they're talking, and she's like, why don't you just kill her? And he's like, haha, yes, of course, I'm gonna kill her. And I'll just go through the divorce. And she's like, no, you're like a rich man. She's gonna take half of it. She doesn't sound like she deserves to live. It sounds like she's, the kind worth killing. And then you follow both of their paths as this to be done murder in the future, comes to fruition. And it is so twisted and crazy. And I was just hooked. And there are twists in here that I didn't see coming because, like, obviously you're following Ted and what he's going through with his wife, but you're also following Lily, and Lily starts to, like, kind of divulge her past and how she came to be a woman who walks up to a random person in an airport bar and tells them to murder their wife. How does that happen to a person? You find out all about Lily. I adored this book. It was so good. 5 stars easily. And then over Christmas, I read another little book by him called The Christmas Guest. And I adored this one as well. It's a little novella. It's like just 100 pages. No, it's not even 100 pages. Less than 100 pages. And my goodness, I adored it. If you are ever in the mood for something Christmassy and also murdery, which, I mean, if you're anything like me, you always are down for that. This is the one to get. So The Christmas Guest follows a girl, because we're following people in university. Her name is Ashley. She is living in London and away from her family, and she's not going home for Christmas. And so her friend invites her to the countryside, the English countryside, which, like, for me, it's on my bucket list of places to go. So I would have said yes if I were her. She invites her for Christmas. And of course, Ashley says, yes, I will come with you. Absolutely. And when she gets there, she discovers that, was it Emma? Emma's brother is very handsome. And she's like, got a crush on him. But he is kind of looked at a little bit with suspicion in this little town that they live in, because a girl that he was dating died. And people think he might have had something to do with it. That doesn't seem to stop Ashley from getting involved with him and trying to get involved with him at least. And you find out what happens from there. It is a wonderful tale. You were reading from Ashley's perspective in these diary entries, and I just loved it. It really does make you think about those times in university. It feels like you're reading from a university student, but at the same time, you're dealing with some pretty disturbing and dark things. Yes. Now we've got my favorite book from last year. My favorite book from last year. My goodness, this book is incredible. Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. This shot her into like a different level to me of authorship. I read Luckiest Girl Alive, liked it. This is like, I think this is literary fiction that meets thriller. This follows a girl who is also going to university, and she is in a terrible situation in which a man has come into her sorority and killed girls in her sorority, very terribly injured others, and vanished into the night. We're living in the 70s, and it's never said that it's Ted Bundy, but it's absolutely the tale of Ted Bundy. And what's wonderful about that is the fact that it's never said that it's about him, is that it forces the reader to really examine how we look at serial killers, and forces the reader to remember that the victims are just as full of life and meaning and purpose as the killer. And for some reason in our strange society, we get that twisted. And our main character, Pamela, is trying to track down this man who killed one of her very best friends in the world. That leads her to meet another woman across the country. That woman's name was Tina, yes. And her best friend vanished. She didn't die, but she vanished. And she believes that that woman was killed by Ted Bundy. And so their lives collide, their purposes collide. It's such a feminist story in such a wonderful way. This is a feminist thriller to the max. Loved every single second of reading this. And then I've got 2 more 5-star thrillers for you. Reconstructing Amelia, absolutely wonderful book, very sad, made me bawl like a baby, which doesn't happen often with thrillers, and is a very good sign. Reconstructing Amelia follows a mother who gets a notification from her school, her daughter's school, that her daughter jumped to her death. And she obviously goes to the school, is mourning her daughter's death, but does not believe that her daughter was suicidal, and starts to dig up the last days, months, weeks of her daughter's life, and tries to get to the bottom of what happened to her daughter. And you're going back and forwards in time. You're following the mother, trying to find out what happened. And then you are following Amelia, you know, months before her death, and what happens to her leading up to her death. Like, the way this author understood like the teenage mind was pretty impressive. And it was just so sad to see how isolated Amelia gets through this book. And also, as a mom now, the guilt factor that the mom is dealing with as a single mom, working single mom, trying to get stuff done while also trying to support her daughter. And then the ending being the ending, knowing that she dies. Like, that guilt is just trickled and layered through this book, and definitely made me cry a lot, but in a really great way. So I definitely recommend that. And then the last 5-star thriller I want to tell you about that I read, that I had put off reading for so long, and I don't know why, because it was hilarious to me, is They Never Learn. And this follows a serial killer, a female serial killer. She is a professor at a school, at a college, and she kills men every year. She chooses men who have done something terrible. Some of them have raped women. Some of them have stalked women, abused women, what have you. She stalks them and murders them. And she does this like once a year, and she's just getting away with it, just scot-free. And you follow her choosing her next kill, and trying to bring this person down. And then at the same time, you follow a woman, well, I should say a young woman named Carly, who goes to that school. And she is quite shy. She had lived in a small town, and she's, you know, nervous to be at a university. And she is tied to a roommate named Allison. And Allison is everything that she wants to be. Allison is super cool, really friendly and bubbly. And Allison goes to a party one night and comes back a different Allison. And Carly wants to find out what happened, wants there to be justice for Allison, and these two storylines collide in the best of ways. Those are all of the 5-star reads that I wanted to tell you about. Have you read those? And what was your like 5-star thriller read, if you could think of one at the moment? Or the last one that you read? Tell me in the comments below. And like, is it just me, or does this sound absolutely wonderful? I'm so excited to read Kill for Me, Kill for You by Steve Kavanagh. I honestly want to read more by him. He's written, I think, a couple of thrillers. Sorry, a series, I should say. That sounds really good. So anyway, and let me know as well if you're going to sign up for Book of the Month. I will talk with you very soon. Bye, guys.